Bryce, yeah.
No, I gotta sit up front so I can read lips. Friday. This is so good. This is Bob Means book. I wanted everybody to read. I just saw it. It's called Oneness. I was like, this morning. I could go, but I didn't want to do that. Putting on energy. Oh, that gave me this 51 years ago.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's time. So it's, I think everybody's kind of aware. So, welcome. My name is Connie Carter, and I'm going to be your MC today. And we're going to just know that this service is going to unfold with such joy and such wonder that when we walk out here at the end of our time together, we are going to be uplifted and we are going to be empowered. Because I know that we have a musician that's going to just throw our hearts and a speaker that's going to remind us of all that we already know. And so, I first off want to remind you that we do ask you to turn off your cell phone. And I'm not quite as strict as Rick Kidsman. I'm not going to send the cell phone police out after you, but we do want to be respectful. And we want your attention to be here now. And we can't do that when people are trying to text us and reach us. So let's just be present. And in that presence, it's really important that we really recognize where we are. I mean, we here at Althea, we have an attachment to this building and to, the fact that these powerful women created this space for us to still be present in. But we have to go back further and to really honor the fact that this building is on land that was held by the Cheyenne, the Arapaho, and the Ute people. And that, their legacy matters. They were the first people here. And their energy still empowers us. And so, we want to keep the ground sacred as we want to keep Althea sacred. And so we really acknowledge that, and that we also honor their presence by having allowed our building to be home to 2 nonprofits and allies for Indigenous communities. And so, because they do still impact the bigger community that we call Denver. They are the Spirit of the Sun and Sisters of Color, United in Education. And their work involves activism, programming, and education that is very impactful. And so in that vein, we actually have an affirmation that we like to share in recognition of their presence and their power. So So affirm with me in your minds and in your hearts. We affirm that we are a community of diverse spiritual seekers. We are growing in diversity of race, gender, and sexual orientation, age, ethnicity, backgrounds, and physical abilities. We are evolving in consciousness, moving beyond differences and dichotomies to embrace oneness, unity, and community. We are ever more aware of past and present biases and atrocities, and are committed to being an open and safe place for seekers to further their journey on the spiritual path towards awakening the spirit of oneness in all. And it's in that spirit of oneness that I would like to ask if we have any newcomers today. Okay, welcome. We have a flower for you, and that's to just recognize your presence and your beauty. And to let you know that as a newcomer here, we have a lunch afterwards, and it's a free lunch for you. And if you're not able to stay for a free lunch today, then the next time you come, let us know that you were a newcomer and didn't get your free lunch. And we'll honor it whenever you come back, because we really want you to come back. We want this to be something that ignites your spirit and welcomes you. So thank you for being here this morning. So now I would like to call forth Mike Carter, and he is going to do our opening prayer.
So, St. Francis said, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. And Jesus said, do not say, lo here, lo there, for the kingdom of heaven lies within. So I invite you to go within, and recognize the omnipresence of God and the omnipresence of good. For we have a sacred place within us where all love and peace exists, a place of strength, a place where the chaos that seems to be in the world is immune from the place that is within us. That place where we are connected to the divine, that place of refuge, that place that knows no negativity, that place that knows no anxiety, that place of strength, sacred space. The Lakota Indian people have a special prayer that references that sacred space. Great Spirit, teach me to trust my head, my mind, my heart, my inner knowing, my intuition, the senses of my body, and the blessings of my spirit. Teach me these things so that I may access that sacred space where love is greater than my fear, and I can walk in harmony with the passing of each glorious Son. And so it is. Amen.
Okay. Please stand as you're able and join me in singing Althea Center with me. And after that, we're going to sing a little song. Okay. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God, and are ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
And so now, we are very blessed to have with us this morning David Churchill. And David's been playing the piano since the age of 10. He didn't take him long to become accomplished. He plays classical music. He has produced and performed many concerts at Mile High Church, Lamont School of Music, University of Denver, and Unity Church in Boulder. He played blues with Grammy-nominated blues singer and songwriter Randy McAllister. He also produced a single called The Blessing with Mark Quick, I think that is pronounced, Global Network. Was selected for its Editor's Choice Award for the month of September 2022. And so we really want to just give an Althea welcome to David Churchill. Thank you, David. That is so beautiful. And now, it is my privilege to bring forth Reverend Elzia Sekou. And Reverend Elzia he's a candidate to become possibly our spiritual leader. And he's currently the senior minister at CSL Denver. And CSL Denver has always held a place in my heart because I landed there in 2006 when I moved back to Colorado and became part of their practitioner team. So I have a special place for that heart, in my heart for them. And he's a current member of the CSL Ministerial Council. Professionally, Reverend Elzia serves as the land application engineer at LTCI Partners, LLC, NFP, focusing on IT strategy, process improvements, and system transformation. Additionally, Reverend Elzia serves on NFP's diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging advisory board. And as the co-leader of the Black Professionals Business Resource Group, he is a former college professor, past chair of the Cultural Diversity and Human Relations Commission for the city of Lakewood, Colorado. He is an avid student of ancient wisdom, focusing on ancient Egypt, Islam, and the Tao. He is a strong advocate for community building and has been active in servicing. I think my printer did not print everything I did because it meant to. He is a husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandmother. So I really want to welcome Reverend Elzia.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you, Connie, for that wonderful introduction. I am so honored and glad to be here today to explore the topic of awakening to who we really are. Awakening to who we really are. Now, I would submit to you that one of the most asked questions in the world is, who am I? Who am I? And closely behind who am I, the question of why am I here is close behind. But I would submit that once we've found the answer to the first question, that other question almost answers itself. It almost answers itself. And so when we embark on this journey of who we are, and fortuitously why we are here, the thing that we're really seeking to understand, the thing that we're really wanting to know is, what is our identity? What is our identity? What are the characteristics, the habits, the idiosyncrasies that make us us? That make us that individual, unique expression of the divine. And once we have that, we're good to go, as they say. However, finding that out can sometimes be quite tricky. I want to read something here from a book by Gene Houston. It's called The Wizard of Us. Transformational Lessons from the Wizard of Oz. She said this: the time has come for each of us to dare enter the inner sanctum of our own power, to stroll defiantly past the smoke and mirrors in order to pull back the curtain to see who we really are. For the true wizard is us, is you, is me, is we. And as we attend to that and be patient with it, we will have an opportunity to step into the drama of life and gain our full power, knowing exactly who we are. Now, you can raise your hand real low, because I don't want to put nobody on the spot. But how many people feel that they really know who they are? I like that. And so I want to ask this question that I always ask myself every so often to make sure I know who I am. Sometimes I forget. But there's this question, and I'm going to pause for effect after I ask it, because I think it's that type of question. Who were you before you were born? Who were you before you were born? Just think about that. And close behind that is, who would you be if nobody told you who you were? Because I would submit that each and every one of us are wearing various labels and titles and all these other things that we think are us, but are not us. I think back to my early childhood. My mother died when I was 6, and I was a pretty precocious child. So I had questions on top of questions on top of questions. And when I didn't get those questions answered, I had a tendency to not, be the quiet little person in the corner, not asking any more questions. And so, as a result of that, I had all kinds of labels. Everybody said what I would be, or could be, or shouldn't be, or all these different things. But in the silence of asking God, where is my mother? As Jesus has been said to say, why hast thou forsaken me? Everybody has a mother. I know. I'm pretty upset, God, that, we might have to fight a little bit here. Trying to understand who I was, because everyone was telling me what my identity was, who I am, who me is, if you will. But in that silent moment of asking myself, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I going through this? Answers begin to come. Now, when we look at the story of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, her story is not too much different motif in fields of Kansas, and tornado came, which was the obstacle that we all have in our lives sometimes. And in the middle of that tornado, we bumped our head. We forgot who we were. And we fell asleep, and we went into a dream. And in that dream, we had all these characters. They say that life is an epic, mythical journey where we all have different parts to play. We all play various parts. But oftentimes, if any of you have any artists who act, when you're in a play or a movie, or you study your part, but you also study the other character's part, so you know when your cue is to come in. But sometimes we might get confused of which character we are. I studied my part, I studied your part, I studied your part. Now I can't remember who I am. I don't know when it's my time to come in and step back. But when we ask these questions of ourselves and remember that each one of us has a unique part. And yes, I know your part, you know my part. The reason for that? So I can remind you if you don't remember. Oh no, your line is this. Not knowing exactly what your line is, but I know I'm getting ready to speak mine, and if you don't say yours, mine's going to seem empty. Because This is a oneness that we live in. There is a continuation of life. There's a continuation of understanding that we all have a part to play. And if I don't do my part, you can't do yours, or vice versa. So this idea of awakening to who we really are is very important. It's very important. And so if we continue with that story of Dorothy, Dorothy goes into this dream state and she bumps her head, and what shows up? The scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the lion. How many of y'all got some scarecrows and Tin Mans and lions deep inside that you try to turn this way, hopefully it's a small profile so nobody see it really, right? We all have these obstacles, these things, these other characters that we know about that we allow to take over our real self. And so sometimes I'm the scarecrow that, I don't think I have a brain. Or I'm a Tin Man and, I don't have any heart, I have no courage to do, I just want to go sit in the corner and complain and judge, but I don't want to take no courage to make a statement or step out front or whatever it is that allows us to awaken to who we are. And of course, the lion is afraid of his own shadow. I mean, he can't even, he really gets into a meditation. He sits down and does not move because he's afraid of everything. But that doesn't serve us. That doesn't serve us. What serves us is to awaken. Is to awaken. And so if we continue with that story of Dorothy goes and she comes up all these obstacles. How many people had obstacles this morning? I did. It was nice and warm in the bed. I did not want to get up. That was an obstacle. The rain was, had a nice mist. It was nice. But it was an obstacle. But we see in the movie, Dorothy goes through these obstacles and she gets to the castle or the palace. And up until that point on the original movie, now they did some different things on some of the new ones, but on the original one, it was black and white all the way until she stepped into the palace and everything went into technicolor. Everything. It was beautiful. And that was her moment of the beginning of her awakening to who she was. She went out of this dual way of looking at life, black and white, and she went into technicolor. Looking at all the various parts of herself, all of the various things that she had access to remind her who she was. How many of you are living in black and white, and how many are living in technicolor? How many of you coming up with all kind of obstacles, all kind of characters to keep you from standing in your true self? Being the magnificent being that God has created you to be. Now, some of you may be familiar with the great teacher, Alan Watts. Great spiritual teacher. Alan Watts says this: waking up to who you are requires letting go of who you imagine yourself to be. Who you imagine yourself to be. That means you drop all the self-imposed labels as well as the labels others put on you so that you can wake up. So that you can wake up. Because literally, when we look at the habits, just those alone, we're not going to go into anything else because we got enough of them to last us a lifetime. When we look at the habits that we have that we're not pleased with, right? Now they could be good, but oftentimes when those habits pop up, we judge them. I didn't get up on time. Oh, that's bad. You got to get up on time. I ate too many sweets last night. It was my grandson's fault. And you start coming with these different ideas and images of who you are. But when you're able to let that go, And not come up with these predetermined images or these ideas of who you are based on your moment in the time, right? And know that deep inside that there's a divine spark waiting to be acknowledged, waiting to step forward and make you accountable. Accountable to who? Not God, not me, but each of us, accountable to ourselves. I forget who it was. I think it was I forget, Whitman, one of those young men back in the day. They said the greatest tragedy of life is to never wake up to who you really are. That is one of the greatest tragedies, is never to bring your stuff to the public, to center stage. Because believe it or not, if you can't be the hero of your own story, then I don't know if I want to watch that movie. Or read that book, or be a part of that play. You have to be the hero of your story, or the shero of your story. Which means you have to wake up to who you are. You have to know what you're doing, who you're playing. And when you do that, if you've ever been to a play like one of those epic plays like The Lion King or The Rent, the movie, the play Rent, or one of those ones that brought the Phantom of the Opera, things, it's been on there forever. You're like, that must have been here before I was born. This play is so long. When you go to one of those and you see those characters, everybody in the audience stands up and applauds. Everybody, because they realize the characters were true to themselves. They played their part, no matter how big it seemed or how small it seemed. And it was those parts that each one played in their true identity of who they were that made the whole thing exciting, igniting, informative. Pick a word, because it covers everything. And so when we can awaken to that, then we begin to step into life. Then we deal with this drama called life. Now some people want to make it all about the practice. And yes, we need to practice. We need to practice, but practice is not the goal. The goal is to show up authentically in that part. There's a Zen story, 13th century Zen story. There was this student, Bosun, who had this master, and the master comes by his house one day and he sees him sitting in the front of the yard meditating. Master goes up to him and says, Bosun, what are you doing? He says, oh, I'm sitting here meditating. Oh, okay. Well, why are you meditating? Well, I'm trying to become a Buddha. Oh, okay. So the master goes and finds a clay tile off the roof and takes a rock and starts rubbing it. And then the student sees this and says, Master, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm polishing this clay tile. He said, well, what you doing that for? He said, oh, I'm trying to make it into a mirror. And Bosun said, you're trying to make it into a mirror? He said, you can't do that. He said, I know, just like you can't become a Buddha sitting there in meditation. The way you become a Buddha is to be a Buddha. You have to awaken to that Buddha idea. It's not a concept. It's an experience. It's something that you live. And when we do that, now, we're ready to go. We can play any part if necessary, but we still know who we are. Because I've experienced it. I've waken up to it. I've allowed myself to be thoroughly immersed in the oneness of God. And when that happens, all else falls away. And so, as we look to step into that idea of being ourselves and awakening, I want to hit you with 3 points that I think gives us a good headway into that. The first one is seek new experiences. Seek new experiences. Step outside your comfort zone. Because if you don't, you'll be sitting there practicing trying to be a Buddha as opposed to experience Buddhahood. It might work, I don't know. But I would submit that if you try to be the Buddha as opposed to thinking about what the Buddha did, it'll be a different experience. Now let me be very clear. I am not discounting any spiritual practice because what those practices are, well, especially meditation, it is to allow you to go within and to ask that question, who were you before you were born? Who were you before you were born? And it is out of the answering of that question that you spring forth. And the only way to do that is to have experiences. You got to step outside your comfort zone. Because there's that old adage that says, if you want to keep getting what you're getting, keep doing what you're doing. Fail proof. If you keep doing the same thing, the same way, expecting a different outcome, that has a nice little label to it. I'll let everybody wonder what that is. I want to be judgmental. The second thing is, we need to overcome our fears. And just like Dorothy in the movie, in the story, or whichever version that you're comfortable with, Dorothy had to overcome all of that. She had to become her scarecrow self. She had to overcome her Tin Man self. She had to overcome her cowardly lion self. Because those things were holding her back from being who she was. From living life technical and not black and white. Because I'm sure everybody here can attest to the fact that movies are much better in color. I mean, if I want to be nostalgic, I'll look at some black and whites, but I really prefer color. And the last thing that we need to do, and now this one might be hard, is we have to stop playing small. We have to see the big parts in the play, in the story, in the movie. We have to see, as we said earlier, the hero or the shero of the story. Play big, don't play small. Because you're never going to awaken to your real potential. You're never going to awaken to who you really are. And who wants to go around being somebody else anyway? They're doing a pretty good job at it. I don't know if I can do any better, so I think I'm going to do something else. That's what we have to awaken to. That's what we're asked to do, be, and have right now, at this time. Because if you're still here, there's still something for you to do. If you're still here, you still have something to teach. Or be an example for. Or remind somebody about something. And the only way you can do that is to be yourself. Not be afraid. Know that you can think. Know that you can move and have your way within the mind and aspects of all things that are God. And so, if we can do that, we can step outside and get new experiences, step outside our comfort zone. If we can overcome our fears and begin to play a bigger part in life and allow ourselves to be free to move in that space, we come up with this remembrance, if you will, by Zig Ziglar. Some of you may know or heard of Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar said this: we were designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness. Endowed with the seeds of greatness. Right now, anybody that has a garden in Colorado is, they might not like the rain, but they're cheering for that garden, boy, because it is growing by leaps and bounds. Those seeds are bursting forth. What seeds are you going to let burst forth from you? Which ones are you going to let burst and be what they really are? And so I'll leave you with this. Remember that the universe is a place of infinite good, infinite possibilities, just waiting for the awakened one to touch it, to awaken it, to allow it to be what God has created it to be. Let us pray. So, dear Heavenly Mother, Father God, that divine intelligence that is always seeking to be itself, to allow the world to experience it in its fullness, its beauty, its grandeur, its intelligence, its compassion, its love. Because it sets the example, it sets the tone for each and every one of us to follow in this idea of being your true self, awakening to who you really are. And when we can allow that to wash over us and to enliven us and to animate us and to allow us to say yes, we begin to do things differently. We have a different perspective. We see things differently. We move in a different way with confidence, knowing that we are backed up by a spirit, by an intelligence that will never let us fall. And so I know right here, right now, and for each and every one in this room, if anyone that may be listening online, that this is the moment that we awaken, that we seek to be all that God has created us to be. To allow our hearts and minds and souls to work together for the glory of God. And so with that, I just give thanks for this moment, this time, this event called now, to allow ourselves to be more than we ever thought we could be. And so with that, I release this prayer into a law that is invalid, to a law that is already working on our behalf. Knowing that it is done well, and so I release it, I let it go, and I know that it is so, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen.
So that's powerful. So now we get to hear again from David Church. Another powerful opportunity to just experience life as it is right here, right now. David? Before I start the reading, I just wanted to make a comment, and that is, I'm so excited to hear about Elzia's topic of discovering who you are, because this is something that my husband Bob, and I were really passionate about, and so much so that he ended up writing 2 books about it as a result of some experiences that he had just about a year before he died. He started being awakened in the middle of the night and had experiences of going to other dimensions, going back in time and space, which he swore to me felt more real than his everyday life. And as he went through, this lasted about a year, about 2 or 3 times a week, he'd wake up and he'd have all these experiences. And then eventually in these experiences, who should show up but Henry, the tiger. Henry was a spirit guide who decided to take the form of a tiger because he said white tigers are pretty rare, and speaking wise white tigers are even more rare. So I want you to see what he looked like. And this is He's cute, huh? What Henry taught him, many things, and by the way, because I just love this, and I'm not going to prejudice anything, but it ended up that we had several copies of his second book, Experiencing Oneness. Speaking to the mic, Henry. So there's several copies in the back if you want to take one home yourself, because they're just sitting in my closet collecting dust, so so here are a couple of things that Henry taught about this idea of who you are. And so he's talking about when he's in this light dimension, and he said, when I'm here, I can see that dimensions of duality are the homes of egos, which are self-centered, protective, fearful, and confined. As I look on this from the light dimension where egos don't exist, I feel the pain on earth as well as the beauty, joy, and love. I feel like shouting out, release ego fear and the perception of being separate from each other. Treat each other with kindness and respect, and love, joy, and beauty will prevail. This is so simple and obvious. The light brings us all together in mutual support, love, and kindness. I remind myself that preservation of belief in separation is the energizing ground of the ego. I see that the ego serves one who is enamored with the perception of separation. None of us here, of course, because we're all harmonious. But, some people are concerned about right and wrong, mine, yours, good, bad, happy, sad. Our light selves only know love, acceptance, joy, peace, happiness, and thus oneness. To the ego, I realize the concept of oneness sounds awful. The ego interprets oneness as a loss of identity and an obliteration of the individual self. Our light selves, our true selves, love the freedom of oneness. The ego professes that oneness is restrictive. Our light selves, which is what I am experiencing right now in this dimension, know that through experience, the opposite is true. And Bob continues, as I bask in this beautiful light, I feel I'm expanding my being, and thus my presence. I feel confident, trusting, and wise. My sense of knowing that I'm always where I need to be is clear and strong. I breathe deeply, drawing in the light. My breath is slow and steady. As I breathe in, I feel myself glowing with light. There's nothing to do now other than be in the light and experience my true self. So now it's that wonderful, wonderful time as our ushers move forward, begin to pass that basket. Because now is the time that you get to drop to your heart and you get to give from that place of wonder. And here at Althea, we have many ways to give. You don't have to just put it in the basket, but as that basket passes by, be sure to put your prayer in there. But you can go online, and we really appreciate the people that, have already set that up and do that monthly without even it being a second thought. It's just an automatic part of who they are. Or you can, we have a dip jar in the back. And I hear that, if you dip it and dip it and dip it, that, where it will take care of its place in so many wonderful ways. And so there's just this idea of giving that is beautiful. Because to give, you receive. And to receive, you give. So I'd like to have our ushers come forward. And I'd like you to join me in our offering prayer. So the universe provides all that I need, all that I give, and with a great joy I share my prosperity, planting seeds for a world I am helping manifest. And so it is. Amen. And so now we have an opportunity to give it a different way. We like to open up the floor to have you let us know what you would like to pray for. And we have a wonderful scribe here who will write down those prayers, and we have ushers that are running around with microphones so that we can hear what you have to say. And so I want to open it to the floor and find out what's on your heart today. But
so I just want to give thanks for all of the support I received during my surgery, and afterwards I felt that I was in beautiful, loving hands. And my experience of the surgery on my spine and a fusion was absolutely pain-free. And it was on my neck, in spite of what Rick thinks that it was my shoulder. This is my shoulder, this is my neck. So, and I appreciate support and prayers for continued healing so that I can take my necklace off soon. Thank you very much. I love you, Althea.
thank you, God. So
Yeah, his shoulder feels great.
and Karen.
Yes, I would just like us to send some love for the needs that the people in Haiti need right now. There's been a lot of flooding there, particularly around Port-au-Prince, and a lot of the population has been affected by this. And also, after all the flooding, 4 days later, we had an earthquake. So there's just a lot going on there, and they need our love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I just wanted to ask for a prayer for healing for my sister-in-law, Tammy Glazer.
Thank you. We will have that included. And your name is?
Vicky.
Vicki? Okay. Okay. Looks like, oh, great.
I'd like to offer a prayer of thanks to all three of our spiritual leader candidates. I think they've all been great, and it's a difficult decision for us, and thank you all.
I know, it's that exciting time. of the service. Give a welcome in to Jenny and listen to announcements.
Glasses on. Thank you, Connie. I'm Jenny, and I am part of the team that brings you amazing Sundays like we had today. Another round of applause for, not the Tin Man, not the Howard Woman, not even Dorothy, Elzia. And music is a big part of every Sunday, so David, thank you so much for bringing your beautiful original. And I wanted to say that, Diane, I too wake up at 2 in the morning. But I think my spirit guide is either Phyllis Diller or Robin Williams, because it's just like this. And, yeah, so maybe I can borrow Henry. That would help me. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story. And I had read it, and I read it, and it's amazing. Grab a copy. So what's coming up? Next Sunday, we have our amazing friend, Stephen Burge, who is one of our favorite guest speakers. So please roll out. That is Father's Day. So you still have plenty of time to take Dad to brunch or take him here to our brunch. But if you could join us that morning, you'll get to hear Stephen and his take on something around fatherhood. The next Sunday is Pride. And in honor of Pride, what we do is we go ahead and shut down. We do not have a normal service. If you would like to come still and have coffee and do something very casual, you may. But we want to encourage everyone to roll out and support Pride by marching in a parade. So we won't be around. But then we'll be back that next Sunday. So please join us. We are, as was mentioned, narrowing it down to the very end of who will be the spiritual leader of Althea. And so we'd like you to fill these out. It's best if you can do it before you leave the building. Don't do it right now when I'm talking, so I can take that person. But if you need a little bit of extra time, go ahead and take some time to make it thoughtful. But do try to get this in one of the baskets or with one of the folks before you leave the building. It's just a lot easier than trying to get us your feedback after. I want to say that many of our folks are part of a choir called Sage Singers. They're going to be performing on Sunday, June 18th at 3 p.m. They're going to do it with the Unitarians, though. I just want to say, whatever. We love the Unitarians. First Unitarian Church of Denver on East Camden, right here. So we've got a flyer.
And it's at 4 p.m.
Oh, it's at 4, not at 3.
I think.
Oh, it says 3 on here. Judith, you know.
I don't know.
It's at 3.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, don't show up. All right, so 3 p.m., so roll out and support all of our folks and the amazing Sage Singers. We also have, let me make sure I've got all my notes here. Every Thursday for years now, we've been doing a Zoom class or discussion group. I'm sorry, it's not really a class. It's a discussion group, Thursdays at 11 a.m. Kathy Humphreys, wave your hand. She is the leader of that discussion. So it's online. They don't meet the very last Thursday of the month, so make sure to put that on your calendar. Otherwise, join her for a lively discussion that is different every week. We want to update you on our 100-year campaign. You can see where the thermometer is. We are more than 2/3 of the way, so please help us get all the way there. One of the cool things, if you talk about manifesting and getting to see what your contributions do, check out the colors. Things are getting painted, folks. All in the back there. The back of the sanctuary, that is brand new paint. You can go and sniff it. And you can see that it's brand new paint. Woo! It's going to be some interesting Sundays with scaffolding in our midst. Maybe you can bring that into the message somehow, I'm not sure. But you're going to see things change, and this is what it means when you support us financially. Cool things start happening in this space. We are still looking for a couple of board of trustees positions. We have a lot of fun. You should join us. So please let one of us know. Raise your hand if you're a board member. If you're an ops team, talk to anyone on the ops team or the board, and we can get you hooked up on how you can find out a little bit more about that. Reminder again about Pride, and we will have, let's see here, sign up. That's what we'd like you to do, is sign up and let us know you're going to march. It helps us plan. Anything, Rick, that you want to add to that?
Sign-up sheet is in the back on the community board.
Great.
If you have to sign up, we need to know who is coming. So
Yes, so can folks sign up online as well if they go to the website?
No.
Okay.
You can sign up on the sheet, and if you don't sign up on the sheet, you can email me, but yeah.
Okay, email Rick.
We'll sign up.
Because we'll also get it out in the newsletter, so pay attention to your newsletters as always. And let me see if there's anything else. We will, of course, as we said, what's that about the basket? For the votes? Oh, great, yeah, put votes in a basket, you'll be able to find one. Immediately after this, we have prayer partners in the historic library. And who are our prayer partners today? Oh, there we go, Mike Carter is our prayer partner. Connie Carter, his amazing wife, who is our MC today, is also, a big round of applause for Connie. So if you'd like to have a private prayer session one-on-one, that's what happens immediately after. And then join us in the dining room immediately after for a lovely lunch. And there will be a deep dive with Elzia where he will take you deeper into this subject. That will also be in the historic library. You have plenty of time to mix the lunch around 12:30, I'm going to say, is when we would start that, maybe even a little bit earlier because we're kind of wrapping up a little early today. And so you can get to know Elzia better. And I think that might be everything. Rick, anything else? Okay, so I'm going to turn it back over to Connie, but first, I believe, we will have Daryl up here. And then Bob, even though you're... okay. Okay, that's fine. Save the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Daryl.
So thank you, Jenny, for promoting our Safe Singers concert. I'm doing it as well by wearing my Safe Singers t-shirt. And please stand as you're able and join us in today's community song, Morning.
I'm Bob. But it has to be me doing Bob. So, so I love doing prayers publicly at Althea because I get to spend a lot of time thinking about it before I do it. So I end up writing a prayer on praise. Dear God, with our hearts wide open, we thank you for the spiritual oasis. When here, our own spiritual essence feels amplified as our physical selves quiet. The energy here now helps us to exhale the weak and inhale the presence. As a result, our heart minds feel safe to allow and expand. To know that whatever we yearn for is possible to achieve. At Althea, we take a moment to consciously acknowledge the oneness that is our connection to each other and to our beautiful earth. Dear God, we pray we can hold this jewel consciously for the coming week, allowing our light to shine brightly on every being we come in contact with. We also want the earth to feel our love, light, and our deep gratitude for the support we receive from it. With love, gratitude, and respect. Amen.
We'll have lunch. Make plans to do the deep dive. And anybody want to hear, or do you have questions here? Just sure. Thank you.